Hello everyone, and thanks for returning back to us at Proud to be Pagan. As you can see here again, we're in the office of APS Productions, and now we're back and we can actually get a little more of the intro and everything else done. As we discussed before, we're having some issues finding original pieces. One of the good news is we did get a song or a intro piece that was approved. I'd like to thank Eliza Height, otherwise known as Ellie Birdie 23. She has allowed us to use her song Wishing Star as our intro and theme for Proud to be Pagan. Also, you'll notice the new title cards, and it's the same intro going in. Of course, it hasn't started yet, but what we're going to do this month is special because with Yule coming up, decided instead of talking about the holidays, how to prepare for them, we're going to lead up into Yule with a couple episodes. This first one being your patron gods and goddesses for either, if you have a coven work that you do or your personal solitary worship. We're going to show you how those can incorporate. We'll show you 5 gods and 5 goddesses that you may be able to incorporate into your own belief system. Now, we're also going to talk about some Yule preparations, of course. That's kind of key to know how that's going to work. I've got it all written down here. We've been working really hard to get this taken care of for everybody. And we're looking at doing one a week till Yule and a little after, so for the holiday season. We're also going to talk about some of the faith during the holidays and weeks coming up, how yours intertwines with other people's and how to cope with that. And finally, we're going to do the episode of coming out of the broom closet, because if you're watching this show, you know that it is important to be very proud of your faith and understand that others be proud of you too. And there's no reason, no shame to hide it. It's not just pagans that have to tell people about a belief system or a way of life that's different from the mainstream. Now, of course, with paganism, it's been around a lot longer than some of the mainstream ones, but we can't justify that in people's minds in society today. So we'll show you how that works a little bit too. And that'll be our holiday season. So again, a very blessed Yule to everyone coming up, and happy holidays. So without further ado, we'll get right into this episode of Patron Gods and Goddesses. Enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of Proud to be Pagan. Again, I'm Marichai, and welcome back to finally, coming back, honestly. It's been a long time coming, but as I mentioned before, this has been a ride, really. And we've got everything finally figured out for the processing of the monetization and all that stuff, and YouTube has been really, really helpful in all of this, so we're moving forward. At any rate, I want to thank you again for joining us for Proud to be Pagan. This month is all about coming together and preparing for, Yule, and understanding that to do that, for any ritual or anything that we're working for, we need to have our gods and goddesses, our ritual in place, and we need to know how to deal and cope. It's kind of a hard choice of words saying deal and cope, but we kind of get ostracized as pagans. During the holidays especially. We're going to talk about selecting your patron gods and goddesses. Now, it's not something you have to do. It just makes things a lot easier. And with Yule being a very laid-back and simple holiday season, it's all about the hearth and home and family. We're looking at gods and goddesses that promote fertility, power, and hearth and home. So we're going to introduce you to 5 gods and 5 goddesses that you may or may not already be familiar with, and how you can incorporate those into your practice and your faith, and the gods and the goddesses have brought us to this plane so that we could use its abundance to our own personal fulfillment. So
there's nothing wrong in saying that it's not all about you, because it is all about you. And you are the reason why the earth exists. So you have to realize that and be thankful for that, and be very selective of your gods and goddesses who you choose to worship. If you read any of Raymond Buckland's books, such as The Guide to Witchcraft, which is the Blue Book, you'll notice he even says in his first lesson, it is about the duality. Now, a lot of people, and this is almost completely quoting him, is a lot of people leave Christianity because of the one focus on the God. And women especially, because it's very patriarchal. And you want to be matriarchal a little more. You want to intersect it a little bit. So they leave thinking, okay, this is more about the goddess and the earth. And then, as pagans, what we're doing is flip-flopping it. And now it's not all about a god, it's about a goddess. And we don't remember, we tend to forget that it's both. As Buckland even said himself, I have not met anyone who does not have a mother and a father. So we are created in essence of both a god and a goddess. So to remember that, we select patron gods and goddesses for our own personal worship. Now, the first one we're going to go over for you is our patron, is Cernunnos, the horn god. It's the basic ideal of the horn god. Very, very powerful masculine god. To do that, you have to have a strong duality for the goddess. And I'll go into the patron goddess here, Brigid. Now, Brigid is also Celtic, of course. Brigid is the goddess of hearth and home, of, well, again, more security has been counteracted with Brigid, because she is hearth and home and fertility. To have two god and goddess of fertility actually is very good. It keeps the other in check, because you can't have fertility. You can have a god with fertility, and without the other side being fertile, there's nothing you can do. It's just one overpowering the other. So if they're both fertile deities, you can be fruitful in your spellcraft and ritual. I go over the first is the god Lugh. Now, of course, we know Lugh as Lughnasadh, the 1st of August, Lammas, is associated with this god. This is the god of harvest, of new beginnings. Think of the harvest, and you think of, well, let's say Thanksgiving, for instance. What is the main picture of Thanksgiving? Is a centerpiece. And in most cases, in classic depictions, it's a cornucopia. Now, those have to be hand-built. You have to be very good to build one of those. And Lugh is kind of the embodiment of that, the crafting ability, tradesmen and people that can work well with their hands. The duality for that is because he's not a god of fertility. You can have, here's the only caveat to that. If you have a goddess that is very fertile, the god doesn't have to be as fertile. It's like, well, in human nature, trying to have a child. If the woman is very fertile, it doesn't take much for the man to fertilize. If the man is very fertile, it doesn't take much for the woman to fertilize. If both are very fertile, it will not take much to fertilize. But if one is not, and the other is not, it's going to be hard. So, to counteract craftiness and the harvest and the bountifulness, but without the fertility, the patron goddess that may go with Lugh is Gaia, of course. Now, Gaia is Greek, specifically one of the Titans, the embodiment of the earth. Now, as we know, the soil, the water, the air, everything around us is extremely fertile, dense, and full of wisdom and knowledge and just sacred ability. So Gaia is a very good overall, if for any god whatsoever, fertile or not. Greek and Roman, a good god to have would be Eros. Eros is the god of lust and passion. Now, this is the other side of the warrior nature of the gods. Out with another lustful, loving goddess, such as Aphrodite, that usually works out very well. Now, this is going to be a very powerful magic and belief system that you're going to be using, because it's not about a duality as much as it is a force. Or a person is very physical in their actions, in their worship, and in their spellcraft. These two may be a couple that are very, very powerful. The first being Odin, the god of gods of the Norse. Now, he is the god of, well, just about everything. Strength, versatility, of masculinity, passion, and he's a warrior. He is the warrior god. He's a very powerful god again. So to kind of counteract that, because you do, put Freya as, of course, love, passion, understanding, hearth and home, and again, a very popular goddess. Because those are the two we really know most about in the Norse pantheons. And the last one we're going to talk about, of course, are pretty legendary themselves. The god Janus, the two-faced god. Now, not only is, when you think two-faced, you're thinking, okay, bipolar somewhat? No, not really. What we're talking about is he is the god of doorways, paths, portals, and the present, past, and future. The reason he had two faces is so he could see into the future and into the past. He's a careful god. So if you're very careful in your practices, you don't invoke a lot, and you're very open-minded, but yet cautious, Janus may be the right god for you. Coupled with him is something that can level that out, is Bonadia. Again, fertility, earth, love, happiness, and abundance. Now, of course, we're only going through very small bits and pieces of gods and goddesses. You can find many correspondences in any books. Anything we talk about here, we do have researched on libraries and libraries of books. I mentioned Raymond Buckland's books. We have mentioned so many books. We'll eventually have to post like a bibliography episode and just have to do books. We did do a couple things about making a library and learning from it, but it looks like from this we may have to just do a reference episode, because no pagan is any good without any kind of reference. We can learn from the earth. We could do as much meditation as we want, but if we don't learn from others, then we cannot really push ourselves forward as a species. Now, on a final note, again, thank you guys for watching so much, and finally happy to be back, and everything's settled in, and I just want to let you know it's very important to us that you watch, and now that we have everything again established, APS Productions moving forward and making these videos for us, you'll see a lot more from this. So until next time, thank you so much for watching.